Jaguar Claw was no ordinary hunter. His name echoed across the vast plains and deserts of the Wild West, whispered in awe by all who heard it. For the Apache, he was more than just a skilled tracker. He was a living legend, someone whose bond with the land seemed almost magical. The animals of the wild trusted him. His senses were so sharp that he could track a deer through thick brush or spot a lone wolf from miles away. He could hear the whispers of the wind, the rustle of the leaves, and the movement of every creature. To him, the wilderness was not just his home, it was his world. He understood its language, its rhythm, and its spirit. Jaguar Claw was a quiet man, a man of few words. But when he spoke, it was with the authority of someone who had lived through the harshest of seasons and survived the toughest of challenges. His people, the Apache, respected him deeply. They knew he was more than just a hunter. He was a protector of the tribe. With his skills, he ensured that the tribe never went hungry, always bringing back meat for the fires. But it wasn't just his ability to hunt that made him special. It was his deep respect for nature, his understanding of the balance of life, and his commitment to ensuring that the traditions of the Apache would live on. One morning, as the sun began to rise and the air grew crisp, Jaguar Claw set out on a hunt. The sky was painted with shades of purple and orange, the kind of sunrise that made you feel like you were part of something bigger, something ancient. He was tracking a herd of buffalo, powerful creatures that roamed freely across the plains. These buffalo were vital to the survival of his tribe, providing not just meat but leather, bones, and tools for everyday life. Jaguar Claw knew that if he could bring down one of the strongest buffalo, it would ensure that the tribe would have enough to last them through the coming winter months. But Jaguar Claw wasn't alone. As he moved silently through the tall grass, his eyes scanning the land, he heard footsteps behind him. He turned slightly, his sharp gaze locking onto the figure of Thunder Sky, an Apache Huntress. She was known across the land for her own exceptional skills. She wasn't as famous as Jaguar Claw, but the respect she commanded from the tribe was undeniable. She had earned her place among the greatest warriors, and many said she had a spirit that connected deeply with the earth. Thunder Sky was a woman of strength and grace, with long black hair that shimmered under the sun. Her eyes were sharp, alert, and filled with determination. She had been hunting on her own, but when she heard about Jaguar Claw's hunt, she knew she had to join him. This wasn't just any hunt. It was a chance to witness the legendary hunter in action, to learn from him, and perhaps to share in the glory of the kill. Jaguar Claw didn't say much when he saw her, only giving a small nod of acknowledgement. Thunder Sky knew that she had to prove herself to him, to show him that she was worthy of sharing in the hunt. She knew that Jaguar Claw wasn't one to let anyone distract him or slow him down. He was a solitary hunter by nature, someone who preferred to work alone, but he also understood the value of teamwork when it was needed. Without a word, they both set off in search of the buffalo. Thunder Sky watched Jaguar Claw closely, trying to learn from every step he took, every decision he made. She marveled at the way he moved through the land as if he was part of it. He walked with a quiet confidence, each footstep deliberate and measured. Thunder Sky knew she had a lot to learn, but she was determined to prove that she too could be a hunter of his caliber. The day stretched on as they moved deeper into the plains. The sun climbed higher in the sky and the air became warmer. Yet Jaguar Claw never seemed to tire. His focus was unwavering, his mind sharp. He could hear the slightest movement in the grass, could smell the faintest trace of buffalo in the air. Thunder Sky, for her part, kept her distance, following him quietly, trying to stay as invisible as possible. She knew the key to a successful hunt was patience, and she respected the silence that surrounded Jaguar Claw as he worked. After several hours, they came upon a sign, a broken branch, a fresh footprint, and the distant sound of the buffalo herd. Jaguar Claw's eyes gleamed with recognition. He crouched low to the ground, signaling to Thunder Sky to do the same. They were close now, the buffalo within their reach. But this wasn't just any buffalo. Jaguar Claw had spotted a massive bull, strong, fast, and incredibly dangerous. It would take all his skill and experience to bring it down. Thunder Sky could feel the adrenaline rush through her. This was it, the moment she had been waiting for. Together they moved closer, their movements synchronized, as if they had been hunting together for years. Jaguar Claw gave Thunder Sky a glance, his silent way of telling her to stay back and wait for the right moment. He had the lead and he knew exactly what to do. They were close now, so close that Thunder Sky could see the steam rising from the buffalo's nostrils. She could feel the power of the animal, the raw strength it possessed, but she also felt something else, an admiration for the man beside her. She could see why the tribe spoke of him in such reverent tones. He wasn't just a hunter. He was part of the land, part of its spirit. His understanding of nature was so deep that it seemed as though he could communicate with the earth itself. Jaguar Claw took a slow, steady breath, his bow in his hands. Thundersky watched as he notched an arrow, pulled it back, and took aim. The tension was palpable. The buffalo was aware of them now, but it didn't move. It was waiting for them to make their move. And then, in one smooth motion, Jaguar Claw released the arrow. The shot was perfect. The buffalo staggered, then fell to the ground. There was a moment of silence, and then the air was filled with the triumphant sounds of the hunt. Thundersky stood there awestruck, watching Jaguar Claw approach the fallen beast. He had done it. He had brought down the mighty bull, and the tribe would feast for weeks. But Thundersky's admiration for him went beyond his skills as a hunter. She could see the way the land responded to him, the way nature seemed to bow to his will. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the plains, Thundersky felt a deep respect for Jaguar Claw, not just as a hunter, but as a man who carried the spirit of the Apache people within him. She realized that such a man, someone so connected to the earth, was deserving of much more than just admiration. He was someone who should pass on his bloodline, someone whose legacy should live on, ensuring the survival of the Apache for generations to come. She didn't speak her thoughts aloud, but she knew in her heart that this hunt was more than just a victory. It was a reminder that some men were born not just to survive but to shape the future. And as she looked at Jaguar Claw standing tall with the buffalo at his feet, she whispered to herself, "Such a hunter deserves to pass on his bloodline." After the hunt, the tribe gathered around the fire as Jaguar Claw returned with his prize. The mighty buffalo, strong and fierce, lay sprawled on the ground, and the people rejoiced. The air was filled with songs of victory, and the smell of roasting meat began to rise, inviting all to join in the feast. Jaguar Claw stood tall, his expression calm, but there was a light in his eyes, a quiet pride in the work he had done. He didn't need praise or recognition. For him, the hunt was not about glory, but about ensuring the survival of his people, and today he had once again done that. Thundersky, however, could not stop thinking about what had happened, the way Jaguar Claw moved through the land, how he connected with the spirit of the earth. It had left an impression on her that she couldn't shake. As the tribe celebrated around the fire, Thundersky found herself standing apart, gazing at the man who had become the subject of her thoughts. She admired his strength, his wisdom, and the quiet dignity with which he carried himself. But more than that, she admired the connection he had with the land. It was as if he and the wilderness were one, as if his very soul was tied to the earth beneath his feet. As the night wore on, the feast continued, and stories were shared by the elders. The fire crackled and the stars above glimmered in the vast open sky. Yet Thundersky's thoughts were still on the hunt, still on Jaguar Claw. She had always been a fierce warrior in her own right, but the way he hunted, the way he lived, made her realize that she had much to learn. It was clear to her that Jaguar Claw was not just a man who hunted for survival. He hunted for the very spirit of the Apache people. He was a man who understood the deeper meaning of life, who saw the land not just as a place to live, but as something sacred. The following days passed in a blur of activity. The tribe worked together to prepare for the coming seasons. Women and children helped to process the buffalo, turning its meat into jerky and its skin into leather. The men, inspired by Jaguar Claw's success, prepared for the next hunt. But for Thundersky, each day felt longer, as if time itself had slowed down. She could not escape the thoughts swirling in her mind. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Thundersky made her decision. She would approach Jaguar Claw. She would speak to him about what was on her heart. Her admiration for him had grown into something more, something deeper. She could no longer ignore the connection she felt to him, the bond that seemed to grow stronger with each passing day. But she also understood that there was more at stake. She wasn't just thinking of herself. She was thinking of the future of the Apache people. As she made her way toward him, Thundersky noticed the quiet strength with which Jaguar Claw sat near the edge of the camp, watching the stars. His face was solemn, but there was a peacefulness about him, as if he found solace in the silence of the night. She took a deep breath and walked toward him, her footsteps soft on the earth. "Jaguar Claw," she said, her voice steady but full of emotion. He looked up at her, his eyes soft, yet filled with curiosity. He had always known that Thunder Sky was a woman of courage. But now he saw something else in her, a respect for him that went beyond just admiration for his hunting skills. "Thunder Sky," he replied quietly, his voice like a low murmur that seemed to blend with the sounds of the night. "What brings you here?" "I have been thinking about the hunt," Thunder Sky began, choosing her words carefully. "About you, and what you represent." She paused, her eyes meeting his. "You are a man of the land. Your connection to the earth is something I have never seen before. It is something the people need." Jaguar Claw listened intently, his expression unreadable, yet there was a flicker of something in his eyes, a recognition that Thunder Sky was speaking the truth. "I have seen your strength, your skill, and your wisdom. I know what it means to be a hunter, but I also know that what you do goes beyond hunting. You carry something in you, something that is a part of the very spirit of the Apache people." Thunder Sky took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her words. "You are not just a hunter, Jaguar Claw. You are a leader, a protector of our people, and the tribe needs someone like you to lead us into the future." Jaguar Claw remained silent, his gaze steady as he listened to her. For a long moment there was only the sound of the wind rustling the leaves, the crackling of the fire, and the distant howls of wolves in the night. Then finally he spoke. "I have never sought to lead," he said, his voice low and calm. "I hunt because it is my duty. I protect the tribe because it is my responsibility. But leading, that is not something I have ever thought about." Thunder Sky nodded, understanding his hesitation. "It is not about leading for the sake of power, Jaguar Claw. It is about passing on the spirit of our people. You are a man who understands the land, the animals, and the very heart of the Apache. Your strength is not just in your bow or your skills. It is in your connection to everything around you. And that strength is something we need to carry on, to ensure that our people survive and thrive." Jaguar Claw looked at her, his eyes narrowing slightly. For the first time, Thunder Sky saw a flicker of vulnerability in him. He was not a man who often showed his emotions, but she could sense that her words were making him think deeply. "You are right," he said quietly. "The land has given me everything. My strength, my wisdom, and my purpose come from it. But I have never thought of passing that on. I have never thought about what the future will look like after I am gone." Thunder Sky took a step closer, her heart beating faster. "That is why I am here. You are a man who deserves to pass on his bloodline. The spirit of the Apache is strong in you, Jaguar Claw. You must pass it on, not just for yourself, but for all of us." For a moment, there was silence between them. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if the night itself was holding its breath. Then slowly Jaguar Claw spoke again. "I see now," he said softly. "Perhaps it is time to think about the future. Maybe it is time to share what I have learned, to pass on the strength of the land to those who will carry it forward." Thunder Sky smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "You are not just a hunter, Jaguar Claw. You are the spirit of the Apache people, and it is a spirit that must live on." As the fire crackled beside them, Jaguar Claw looked up at the sky, deep in thought. He had never thought much about his legacy, but now he understood that his life had meaning beyond the hunt. His skills, his wisdom, and his connection to the land were gifts, and they were meant to be shared. Together, Jaguar Claw and Thunder Sky sat in silence, watching the stars twinkle above. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Jaguar Claw had found a new purpose. He was ready to pass on his bloodline, to ensure that the spirit of the Apache would live on for generations to come.